Hello, everyone. If you're just tuning in, I am Rebecca Tarosian. I'm an intimacy behavioral therapist who helps people overcome sexual problems and intimacy issues. In my last series of short videos, I focused on the most common issue that drives my male patients in for help, and that is the struggle with premature ejaculation. Today, I'm going to focus on the second most common, and that is varying types of erection issues or difficulties. Now, before I go on, I want to make one disclaimer, and that is that my work is multi-layered. Therefore, I will be revisiting many of the topics and subjects that I talk about again and again to illuminate from different angles and levels of understanding. So, erection issues. Basically, it's getting and losing erections. So I'm going to always use layperson terms, just so you know. Okay, getting and losing. So most men will report, if honest, that at one point in their life, they were worried about either getting or maintaining an erection. It becomes a challenge when it's chronic and when it can't be quote-unquote controlled. One of the myths is that using either drugs like Cialis or Viagra, or there are shots that can be taken, will help people overcome the problem. Now let me backtrack. Will they help? They may. However, for most people, they're not a long-term solution. And many people either don't respond well to the drugs, or they have a short-term efficacy, or people don't want to be dependent on them. So the first step when I'm speaking to someone who's expressing challenges with chronic erection difficulties when having sex, I ask them, have they been to a urologist? And I did mention this earlier. We need to first rule in or out any kind of physical, something physical that's playing into this, whether it's, a kind of dysfunction that they already have in their bodies, or not dysfunction, but if they already have like a diabetes, or they're on certain kinds of antidepressants, so other kinds of medical conditions that can lead to a lack of blood flow, etc. Do they have low testosterone? This is something else that can play in. So once that's been ruled in or out, even if they do have some of these conditions that are helping to create the problem of blockage to maintain an erection, many of those same people still, though, have developed performance anxiety, stress, challenges around worrying. This has happened before, it will happen again. And so the way that it shows up is that there's a sense of dread often, and a sense of a self-fulfilling prophecy of worrying over and over about, will I be able to perform when the time comes? And it can really eat into a person's psyche and really drain away any kind of joy from an intimate encounter, instead left with dread, from what I've heard. So why does this happen? Okay, so we spoke about so if there's not, the medical condition isn't the major thing, or even if it is, but if it isn't, and it's just and there's the stress and the worry. Why is there? What else is there? What else is going on? So, for some people, it's they're not getting enough stimulation. It could be from habits from masturbation, where they lay prone and rubbed for years against a hard surface, or even on a bed where their whole weight was on their penis, and so the penis got used to needing a certain level of stimulation in order to maintain itself, and or aggressive masturbation, right? And or even the effects of pornography, which has been widely documented, but can also create a disconnect between the mind and the body. So these are some of the aspects. And as I've said before, my work is not one in which I diagnose, right? A problem is not a problem, I like to say, unless the person having the problem feels that it is. that it's invading their lives and that they can no longer really be happy. So that's the starting point. And so however it shows up, it could be a person gets the erection, but then starts worrying about it, starts to lose it, or loses it just before penetration or putting on a condom, or any kind of the natural breaks in sexual activity between penetration and other kinds of activities. So it can also mean that they are just really in the end terrified that their body's going to betray them at the crucial moment. So, okay, this is a little bit of a description of what it is and how it manifests and why it can manifest. So I'll keep it with that, and we'll talk a little bit more in the next video, and I'll share more. Thank you very much.